Hello, everybody. My name is Alexander Wong. I'm with Millennium Interstate Realty. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be going over the step-by-step guide that you should be taking before considering purchasing your first property. Because it's not even just simply going into a mindset of like, all right, I think I'm about ready to buy a house. There's actually a lot more that some people don't know that really goes into it, and small things that make a major, major difference. So let's just get right into it. Today, first things first, I just want to tell you guys, make sure you're actually ready for the house. And I'm not talking financially. I don't mean as in, okay, I got enough money saved. I mean as in like an emotionally. Because first things first, it's a huge step going from either renting or moving out of your parents if you're first time home buyer, or moving right out of college. A lot of steps that go into that. And if you're buying with a partner, you got to think about, okay, are you on the same page when it comes to your wants, money, and is there any chance you need to relocate because of work, or if you're planning on starting a family, if you're planning on getting pets, if you want to do this, that, you got to really think about it, because you almost have to have like a spider web of information. Like, okay, realistically, food shopping, where do I need to be? My job, where do I need to be? What happens in case, I get moved? If you have a job that makes you move, if you need to go to Walmart, get gas, all those type of items. If it's safe in case you want to have kids at that house, right? You don't want to live right off of the Garden State Parkway. That's a little dangerous for the kids. But those are the type of goals that you want to consider. As soon as you kind of have those ideas set and you're emotionally ready, then you can move on to actually getting financially prepared. Now, here's some heartbreaking things that I have seen from some of my buyers where ready to buy a house, excuse me, and they get out and buy a brand new Mercedes Benz G Wagon. I'm kidding, that's my dream car, but they go out and get a brand new car right before getting their house, and that just significantly hurt you. So when it comes to getting a mortgage, of course, the exception if you're buying cash, you're going to have something called your debt to income ratio. Your lender will take the amount of debt that you have, your credit cards, any personal loans, car loans, takes that to your current income. How much are you bringing in, right? And basically, that number determines the amount of mortgage you can get. And something as silly as a car note will significantly decrease your mortgage amount that you may be able to get approved for. Now, it's very important to talk to your agent and lender about all of the different programs out there. We're going to get into that a little bit more with the pre-approval process. But first things first is determining your budget. So there's a bunch of house affordability calculators out there. You can look those up online. And even if Zillow, they have mortgage amounts too. So if you have an idea of how much you want to purchase for, you can calculate, how much you would need per month, and a ton of really cool stuff that they have out there nowadays. So, but yeah, you want to definitely assess, especially where you want to be. The good old adage of location, location, location is primarily real estate, right? You could have the worst looking house right on the beach and have that be an easy $1 million, $2 million property. Or you could have the best looking house in the middle of nowhere and have it be maybe a $400,000 property, let's just say, for example. So location is very huge when it comes into factoring, right? Let's say, as I mentioned before, the example, the kids, the school systems, your commuting, all that comes into factor. And your down payment amount. Now, typically 20% is what you need for a conventional loan to not be charged mortgage insurance. But there's a lot of different programs and different type of loans as well. So you don't need 20%, right? It's not you don't have 20%, get the heck out of here. Many homeowners opt to put less down, and a smaller down payment requires less money up front, but it also means you'll have to pay mortgage insurance, as I mentioned, which typically decreases your monthly payment, typically increases your monthly payment. So the type of home loan you also used helps to determine the minimum down payment required, right? if you haven't heard of already, there's something called an FHA loan, and that requires a minimum of 3.5% down, right? Up to 5% and so on, however you want to work your own numbers. Now, there's pros and cons that comes with, conventional versus FHA. We're not going to dive into that today. I'll make a separate video sometime in the future going over the different type of loans. I'm not a mortgage lender, just saying. But yes, there's a bunch of different options for you out there. Now, right before, you begin to think about all that, just ideally think of where you want to be in essentially the average cost of the house. And that could come up with how much you want to put down. And depending on the scenario, typically the more down, the less your monthly payment will be, right? So this is the section where you want to start to create a wish list for yourself. Now, this could be your starter home, right? You say, I might be here a couple years, maybe a decade, or this could be your forever home. There's a lot of different thought processes that go into it. Just think about, as I mentioned, location first. Do you want to have a move-in ready home, or do you mind having a little bit of a fixer-upper, right? Paying a little bit less, but then, you have to renovate, fix things, add in new stuff, and pretty much customize it how you want it to. There's also new construction as well that you can purchase, where if it's not already built, you could get together with an architect and send that plans over to a builder. If you know anybody that's a builder, you could almost essentially really custom make your house. Now, once you kind of think of, what you want, yard, 2-car garage, anything of that sort, 3 beds, 2 baths, you're going to want to find the right mortgage from you. Now, this is just going to be a very, very quick run through, but the type of mortgage you can use to buy a house affects what you'll need to qualify for that loan, and of a sense, and as I mentioned, down payment. So conventional loans are mortgages that are not guaranteed by the federal government. So this means they offer low minimum down payments, but have more contingent qualifications. FHA loans are mortgages that are backed by the Federal Housing Commission. So these are generally easier to qualify for than conventional loans, but have stricter requirements for mortgage insurance, right? And again, I'm taking all this information from nerdwallet.com on the home buying checklist steps to buying a house. VA loans are for veterans. So they're from the Department of Veterans Affairs and are for active or former service members and eligible spouses. The VA loans allow you to make no down payment. Now, there's a bunch of different ones like rehab loans, jumbo loans, balloon loans, but those are primarily the main ones, right? Now, there's 2 different type of rates as well. There is a fixed rate or an adjustable rate mortgage, also called ARM, ARM. And as you probably guessed from the name, that fixed rates are static and adjustable rates can move up or down depending on the market conditions. So, for example, an ARM loan can start at a lower interest rate than a fixed rate loan, enabling you to buy more home for the same monthly payment, but rates can also increase or decrease over time. So you got to choose the right term. They're typically 30-year mortgages are the most common type, but there's also 15, 10, 20-year terms available at lower interest rates if that applies as well, based on your whole credit score situation. As I mentioned, paying off that debt. You want to make sure that you don't have a lot of debt and you have a good credit score, because that really helps out. So, little fun fact actually, that there's something called a biweekly mortgage that you end up making 13 payments, right? So think of it, you make a monthly payment every month, right? This is something that's really interested me. You make 12 payments in a year, which equals your 30-year mortgage. But however, if you do a biweekly mortgage, which is, every other week, you actually end up, because you know how the days in the year work, you actually end up making 13 total payments, which allows you to make 1 extra payment per year, which can actually cut your mortgage from 30 years to 23 years by just making that extra payment. So that's something very interesting as well that you can check out. I told you there's a ton of different options. Your mortgage lender will know all of this information. If you even have questions, you could ask me and I can refer you guys. I got a couple specialists in the industry who can work almost any situation or scenario. Now, step is going to be getting pre-approved for a mortgage. Now, this is typically, some people don't do this right off the bat, but this really, if you're really serious about getting a home, this is the first step that you're going to want to take in this journey. So, getting pre-approved for a mortgage essentially gives you an idea of what you can afford, right? Based on your debt, your income. Your mortgage lender will take you through the whole journey, A to Z. And so you put together all your documents. It can be a little overwhelming and time consuming at first, but then it goes through a couple days, maybe a week or so, and then you'll get back a ideal number, because it's all a numbers game essentially, right? So after you got that, you're going to want to find a real estate agent. Now, I do have another video which I'm gonna link in the description, and also I believe it's this corner up here. You may click and check it out. I go over what has happened with the NAR settlement in terms of buyers, which means what has changed and what you should be aware of. So finding a real estate agent is very important. They can help do everything with your best interest in mind. That's what us professionals do. And I'm not just saying this because I'm an agent as well. That's kind of my line. But really, there's some stuff that goes on the back end that you might not be aware about, where, we take care of you and make sure that you're always being put first, essentially. So at this point, this is where the fun part happens, right? This is where you want to begin your journey. Go look at houses, see what you like and don't like. I've had a ton of people who ideally this is what they liked. Then I've shown them the houses and they go, this is actually not really what I thought I would like. And I said, that's totally okay. Let's go back to the drawing board. Go back, mark it up, say, hey, take a look at this. What do you like? Take a look at this. What do you like? Okay. And I always prime on digesting every section. Okay. This person doesn't like to be close to the water. This person likes a little bit of bigger yard. This person wants a deck, a patio, a pool, and so on. So the more time you spend with your agent, they should be able to go ahead and learn more about you, what you like and don't like, and have a relatively set up thorough system that allows them to be able to effectively take care of you no matter the time, day, month, and so on. So that is all the steps basically to going ahead and getting set up to buy your first home, second home, whatever it may be. Even investment properties. I know we didn't touch too much on the investment side, but overall, like the paying down the debt, having money, it's all almost in the same realm. If you would like, you can comment guide down below, and I will reach out to you and send you my personal home buyer's guide, which has essentially 98% of the information that you need, to not knowing anything about buying a house to going ahead with Albert Einstein. Okay, that might be a little bit too much. Not Albert Einstein type knowledge, but essentially you have a very well understanding of how this whole process is going to work. I'm here for you. My team at Millennium Interstate Realty is here for you. Any questions, drop it down below. You guys have my contact information on my website in the description. Any questions, feel free to ask. That being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and see you in the next one. Take care.